Top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bill. Once I had a girl on Rocky Top, half bear, the other half cat. Wild and me, but sweet as soda pop, I still dream about that. Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Once two strangers climbed old Rocky Top looking for a moonshine still. Strangers ain't come down from Rocky Top, I reckon they never will. Corn won't grow at all on Rocky Top, dirt's too rocky by far. That's why all the folks on Rocky Top get their corn from a jar. Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Good evening, everyone. Swain Event Plus on a Thursday is 9:02, and thank you so much for joining us. You could be doing anything else. You could be watching my Bears beat up on the Packers. You could be doing that. You could be asleep. You could be doing anything, but I really appreciate you spending a few minutes with us this evening. Ben McKee, Jason Swain. You know the deal. You know the drill. You know who we are. And appreciate everyone listening to the show this morning. We got an hour here, and then we'll get up in a few hours, right, Ben, and head over to Alumni Hall, Turkey Creek.
A turn and burn.
Yeah, and rock that remote as we prepare for Tennessee BYU. And this is a weird point in Tennessee football history, but this game, there's a lot riding on this football game. Tennessee's been the butt of all the jokes. We'll take it. We'll take the L. We'll take the jokes on the chin. But we just gotta make some things happen this Saturday. And so a lot of questions about effort, pride, coaching decisions, coaching adjustments, and we'll see what happens. So if you're watching us, yeah, I got my blue light glasses on today, man, because I've been looking at my screen all freaking day, and so I'm trying to block that blue light, man, because sometimes it give me like a little headache. So that's why you see me with these glasses on and maybe a little blue glare, but that's what these are. These are blue light glasses. My wife hooked me up.
I asked you about them this morning.
Yeah. So she hooked me up, and initially I was like, I ain't wearing them goofy ass glasses. She tried, so I tried them. I was like, okay, yeah.
So does she wear some?
Yeah, yep. She got some too. So, but yeah, at night I usually rock my blue light glasses because I'm looking at the screen. It's really not that great to stare at the screen right before you go to bed. So I block out the blue light, man, so I can sleep like a baby.
I do that literally every night.
What, stare at a screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's usually multiple screens.
Yeah, so I try to wear them as much as I can without looking like a cornball. So the live chat is wide open, so if anyone want to join the live chat and fire off any questions that you may have about anything, and I'll do my best to be as truthful as possible, but I'm not going to throw my own program under the bus. But I will be as honest as I can. So that's kind of the rules. That's me pretty much in a nutshell. So no different than how we have done things here on the show. But this is more intimate, and I want to give folks the opportunity, man, to get the questions answered. And again, we really appreciate everyone joining us. But a couple things that we probably didn't touch on during the show that we would like to touch on, but we didn't have a chance to was the move to running back for Aaron Beasley. And Aaron Beasley, true freshman, he was recruited for this purpose, to either play safety, linebacker, or play running back. That was the plan all along, for them to have a choice of where to move him depending on the depth at those three positions. He's listed as 212 pounds the last time I checked. Don't know how much he weighs right now, but in the first game you saw Eric Gray, Ty Chandler, as good as they are with the ball in their hands, as great as they are as pass catchers out of the backfield, they struggled in pass pro. They're small. They're smaller than backs that we're typically used to, and so maybe that's a move to try to shore up some of that pass blocking from the running back position. Depth is certainly something that they need to cover and make sure they address, and they're doing that with Aaron Beasley. Tennessee can't afford an injury on Saturday at the running back position, man. Cannot afford an injury with anyone. It looks like it's going to be a two-man show with Eric Gray and Ty Chandler.
Yeah, apparently Tim Jordan has a turned ankle, and Jeremy Pruitt did not specify during Wednesday's press conference following practice whether he would play or not. Maybe we, the media, should have done a better job about following up on that and asking him about that. But the original question wasn't even about Tim Jordan or injuries at the running back position or even injuries in general. It was simply, why is Aaron Beasley working with the running backs? And he said, well, we've got three of them. Tim has a turned ankle in reference to Tim Jordan. And then I thought it was funny that he said we had three running backs, and he was only talking about Tim Jordan, Ty Chandler, and Eric Gray, and Carlin Fields and me is still out there at practice with the running backs, and he's a senior. Thought that was interesting. So that was where that originated from, and they wanted to move Aaron Beasley over to running back because of depth issues with Tim Jordan having a turned ankle, similar to Jeremy Banks moving to inside linebacker. Just not a ton of depth. But to your point about the pass protection, that's all they were working on when we saw them on Wednesday is pass protection. So I guess my question to you would be, Aaron Beasley is a freshman who has not even played in a game yet at Tennessee, and Darren Falkamp worked with the safeties, worked with the inside linebacker, and now he has, 3-4 practices under his belt at running back. Mm-hmm. What do you think the likelihood is that we see him on Saturday?
At running back, I don't think we see him unless there's an injury, and I don't really want to see him. I feel nervous for him having to go in there running back, and he just moved there a couple of days ago. I don't want that for him. I don't want him to make a mistake or be put in a situation where he costs Tennessee a game and he's blamed for the loss, something like that. So part of coaching is making sure you put guys in the right position to be successful and making sure guys are not in the position to fail. You don't want to throw someone out there in the deep end that can't swim. Mm-hmm. And so I just really hope that Eric Gray, nothing happens to him. Ty Chandler, nothing happens to him. Ty Chandler last year, first game, he got dinged up a little bit on a outside run against West Virginia last year, and he was out for the game. So, Ty Chandler does have a history of concussions. Eric Gray, he has a thick lower body. People may think he's small or whatever, but no, he has a powerful lower body, but you just never know what might happen. Eric is make guys miss, but there's a time or two he made maybe too many cuts, and so he's gonna get used to playing at this level and knowing when to make a second, third cut, and knowing when to cover the ball up with two hands and just get down so he doesn't get hurt or turn the ball over. Luke Parks says, why is it taking so long for these guys to be kicked off or leave on their own? Thought that would have been more of a year one thing. Well, I think with Jordan Murphy, he is one of a group of guys that the previous staff found themselves in the doghouse more times than once or twice. And then Pruitt wanted to give him a fresh start, just like he gave Jawan Jennings. I mean, let's not forget, what Jawan Jennings did to get himself removed. And Pruitt gave these guys a fresh start, but Jordan Murphy didn't really take advantage of that. And honestly, he's not as good as Juwan. So Juwan will get a second, third, fourth opportunity because he's good and he plays his butt off, and Pruitt loves him as a football player. So, Jordan Murphy, if you ain't making plays and you're being a knucklehead, we ain't gonna have much time for you. Now, he didn't play in the first game of the season. What was the reports on him not playing first game?
He was sick.
Oh.
That's what Pruitt said on Monday. That's what he was asked. He was sick, and that they were focused on getting his weight back up. You talk about Jordan. He's a guy that's been sick the last week. They ran some tests on him, and they'll continue to do that. But he should be back at practice today. We just need to get his weight back up. Ran some tests.
He may have been sick, but I don't think that's the reason why he didn't play. But I understand I understand Pruitt saying that because you don't want to be hardball. Well, you don't want to be viewed as hardball. Like if it don't work out, you want to be the guy who's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you go somewhere else.
Well, and at that point, he hadn't sent out the tweet yet. Wasn't that on Monday?
Yeah, but that's not the reason why he didn't play.
No, but I'm talking about in terms of. I bring that up because the
tweet happened after the game. He didn't play in the game.
Right. But the reason I bring that up is because, like you said, that's him being sick isn't the reason he didn't play in the game. Like you just said, I think that Pruitt would not have said what he said had the tweet happened on Sunday, because the tweet is ultimately maybe not the ultimate decision of why he got kicked off the team, but it helped speed that process up. If that tweet happens on Sunday, then I don't think Pruitt is saying what he said on Monday.
Pruitt also said in the teleconference that it was his decision.
Yeah, that's true.
So whatever.
Do you buy that? I think it was probably a mutual party in a ways.
Again,
just reading the tea leaves.
Again, I think Pruitt doesn't want to be the coach who hinders someone from going somewhere else and having an opportunity.
Yeah, I get it.
I just think that's kind of the way he's done things so far. Like, he was a guy who transfers a player, and I'm sure he didn't want his coach at MTSU, dogging him out at Alabama. And so it just doesn't do any good to publicly say something bad about a kid who's leaving your program. But he didn't play the first game, which it would be very hard for me to not play in the first game unless I had like Ebola or something. And then he didn't play because he didn't handle business off the football field. And the tweet just made it easier to part ways or let him go. So, yeah. Audrey, let me say it the way I want to say it, Audrey, okay? Don't be rushing me. Don't be rushing me, Audrey. I'm trying to maneuver through this situation the right way. Golly, man. But he gone. And it's best that he leave.
Yeah.
It's best. Go ahead.
I was going to just kind of in relation to that, Jeremy Pruitt had some interesting comments at Vols Calls on Wednesday night in terms of players leaving. John in Saltville, Virginia called in, and he was the one I mentioned on the show this morning that was trying to encourage Jeremy Pruitt and show some support, saying, you think we're disappointed, and I can imagine how you guys feel. But Pruitt responded and essentially got to the point of saying, you're supposed to put on more steam, right? We probably got a few of them that might not be with us. Some of them's done left. There might be a few more, but that's okay. They need to get out of our way because we've got a bunch of them over there that are heading in the right direction. I thought that quote was very telling.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the quote that he had last year on Vols Calls. He had something along the same line of not having enough players, or remember that it turned into like a big discussion. Some people thought it was out of bounds for Pruitt to say what he said.
Nah, man, he's
keeping it real.
Yeah, man, he's keeping it real, and We'll see. I'm telling you, it's a couple of those guys who's been in the program for a while. They're not seniors, but they've been in the program for a while, and I don't know what their deal is, but they'll get exposed. They'll get exposed here soon, and I'm not gonna call names or anything, but they'll get exposed, and they won't be here. They won't be here. Audrey, any opinions on Schamberger stay in your place comment? Schamberger's not. He's not. He doesn't make smart decisions. I mean, that's just the nicest way I can say it. He doesn't make smart decisions, and he's not mature. He's not mature at all, and so I'm not a big fan, obviously, of his comment. He has not played well enough to be making those comments and statements. He doesn't understand what people go through to go to games. And I was sitting here after the show, and my phone rang, and it was the great Leonard Little, and we were talking about the tweet. We were just like, man, you know, as a player, you sacrifice, you work hard, and no fan can match that. But at the same time, your sacrifice doesn't have to be the same as the fan sacrifice. We all sacrifice. We all sacrifice to support this program. Our players sacrifice their bodies, their time, and whatever. But fans, they sacrifice a lot too. Tickets ain't cheap.
Heck no.
Hotels ain't cheap. Gas ain't cheap. Food's not cheap. And I had a huge understanding of that when I started doing radio, because I would go to tailgates and I would look at the spread and I would say, how much it costs to reserve this spot? And they would tell me. I go, damn.
And see, you don't realize that as a player.
No, I had no clue. Oh, and they tell me how much their season tickets cost, and they'll tell me where they're coming from, Memphis and this, and we never miss a game. I'm like, what? It didn't really hit me until I started doing radio. But as a player, I always respected our fans. I would always stay after the games and sign autographs as much as I could. If I didn't have family that came in town, I would sign some autographs. But at the 15, 20-minute mark, I would shut it down and go spend time with my family that I rarely see. But I always respected the fans. But I got a greater appreciation for our fans when I started doing radio. This is a good question, though, Chip Payne. Why couldn't Pruitt get rid of the bad apples before spring started? Is it because he needed bodies to fill positions, and without them, they probably couldn't practice? I think that's accurate, Chip. I think it's part of that. I think also you're like, hey man, if we just keep coaching them, maybe they'll turn the corner. We keep maybe mentoring them, coaching them, loving up on them, or whatever, beating up on them, whatever. Maybe they'll turn the corner. And some guys, they haven't. I don't care how not bought in you are or how upset you are about your role. When the lights come on, you gotta go play. You gotta go play. And it's you don't have to play for the coaches, but at least play for your brothers, play for your guys next to you. That's the thing
and at minimum, the one that I can't get past is play for the last name on the back of your jersey.
Some guys don't understand what that means either.
And that's amazing to me. Unfortunately, there are players on the team whose moms have had to battle cancer, whose grandparents are battling cancer right now. Play for them. You would think that would be plenty of motivation. Dedicated game. Forget Tennessee. Forget even your teammates. Just go play for your family. Play for the last name on the back of your jersey.
Some dudes don't think like that, man. Nathaniel says DWA sounded off on Twitter tonight too.
Did he?
I didn't see it.
No, I've tried to stay off Twitter. Although I will say, you had a great message on or a great message to, we'll say, Vol Twitter this morning on the show. And to be quite honest, in my opinion, most of Vol Twitter, not all, has been a cesspool since we lost to Georgia State. I mean, I think it's pretty simple to say that. But today was very cool because of all of the support that was going to a young man in Tallahassee, Florida, who unfortunately did not have a Tennessee shirt to wear to College Colors Day. And this was put on Facebook by his teacher, and she said that she was going to buy him a UT shirt. And if anybody knew anybody who had Tennessee stuff or whatnot, let her know, try to help the kid out. And it turned into a movement today. And I thought that was very cool to see that although it was a rough week for Vol Twitter, they also turned it into a heck of a positive.
Yeah, I saw tweets from Randy Boyd. Local news stations picked it up and ran stories on it, and it was really, really cool. I wrote him a letter, put it in the mail today, just let him know that there's nothing to be ashamed of, and for him to even go through with that plan, not having a shirt, speak to his strength and speaks to his pride. We got guys on our football team that don't have as much pride as that young man. So, Nathaniel says, what type of fans down the program and stop showing support within a week because of one rush patch in our record? God, I wish we shut the hell up.
And for those who don't know, Nathaniel was quoting what Dominic Wood Anderson tweeted.
Golly, man.
And then Dominic Wood Anderson, 12 minutes ago, said that he hopes to see a full stadium.
Shut up. Just shut up and go play. Just go play, man. You're not going to win. You're not going to win this. You're not going to win. Tweeting. People are seeing red right now. You're wasting your time. Just shut up and go play. Just shut up. That's all you got to do. God.
He also said, if y'all not there Saturday, then y'all might as well stop supporting UT football for life because y'all are fake blanking fans. What type of fans down the program and stop showing support within a week because of one rough patch in our record, like Nathaniel said?
When was that sent out?
8:02 p.m. and he has since deleted it. We talked about it this morning on the show.
I'm sorry, I gotta text somebody.
It is time for Jeremy Pruitt and Tennessee's
I said it, dude. 2 days.
Sports Information Department to shut down the social media for the season. It's unfortunate that it has to come to that because, like you say, it doesn't necessarily teach the young men responsibility and how to be accountable and properly go about having social media. But when you have, 4 players this week, 5 players sounding off on Twitter, something has to happen.
I almost said the F word. Guys don't need to shut up. They need to shut the up. That's what they need to do. You can feel that way. That's cool, man. Because some fans have went overboard. Some fans have crossed the line. They've been disrespectful, and I get it, but you're not going to win addressing the fans in a negative way. Where's your focus? Where's your focus, man? Where's your focus? You worry about the fans on a Thursday? You play BYU. Biggest game of the year. Tweeting about the fans? Golly, man. Why haven't we shutting Twitter down by now? Dude, I was telling everybody who would listen when I was over there yesterday, yo, shut it down. Yo, shut it down. Yo, tell somebody to tell Pruitt to tell somebody to tell Pruitt to shut it down. Shut it down.
You called me.
Shut it down.
And was like, I'm on my way over there, and I'm going to tell them to shut this down.
Shut this Twitter down. Shut it down. Shut it down.
What was the response? You don't have to obviously say word for word, but did they agree with you, disagree with you, kind of like just shake it off, and so you'd stop talking?
They didn't disagree.
Okay.
But I think that's, at the end of the day, it's Pruitt's call. You the head coach. Golly, man.
You think Pruitt's overwhelmed this week?
So stupid. No, because here's where Pruitt has to be a head coach. He's so caught up in ball. But this, like, you can't just ignore this stuff, man. You got to make the last call on this stuff. You got players that are alienating the fan base. We play like shit last Saturday, okay? And guys didn't have effort. If you're a player in this football team, you watch the film, you saw that. So understand why fans are upset. Understand that fans are it's a conditional relationship. It's conditional. You got to win. Like, they ain't gonna love you just because you just wear orange. You gotta go win. There's a reason why Jason Witten is on Jumbotron, and some other guys not. It's because he was good, and because he helped Tennessee win.
There's a reason Jason Witten is on the Jumbotron and Ethan Wolf isn't.
I mean, you have to understand that it's a conditional relationship. Your relationship with your parents, that love that your parents have for you, that's unconditional. That's not how it is in college football. As a player, you got to understand that. You in la-la land if you think otherwise. They love you because you here, but they'll love you even more if you help them win.
Okay.
It is what it is. So don't get your feelings hurt. Don't get your panties in a wad because they flame one of your teammates for saying something stupid.
Really, you need to be checking that teammate for what he said. But to your point, how many folks are going to remember the name Madre London 10 years from now?
I already forgot about Madre London.
Exactly. That's my point. He played 1 year at Tennessee.
Did I say that out loud?
Yes, you did. Everybody was thinking it. CP played 1 year at Tennessee. He still talked about.
The only difference between CB and Madre London and CP was awesome.
Well, that's what to your point. He did a lot here. Everybody still remembers CP. Madre London did nothing. He's not going to be remembered. So it's conditional love, just like you said. But I don't know why Dominic Wood Anderson or any of the other cats that have been talking about fans on Twitter have a problem with the fans. They need to have a problem with their teammate laughing at them for losing to Georgia State. That's where they need to have a problem.
I don't get it, man.
Now I would understand players being upset with some of these fans tweeting at mamas like that. That's over the top. Still need to maybe keep your mouth shut, but I understand players being upset about fans tweeting at players' moms. That's too far.
I think it's the same with politics. Your 280 characters is not going to change anybody's mind about their political stance. So save your breath and save your time. You're not going to change anybody's mind about what side they're on with your 280 characters. So why even waste your time? Players, why are you wasting your time? Players' parents, why waste your time?
If I was a player's parent, I'd just stay off social media.
I mean, oh, boy.
But like Matt says, maybe a team that tweets together wins together.
Hey, it ain't worked out so far. 0-1.
I mean, I know it's a running joke about me and Antonio Brown, but Tyler makes a good point. Look what social media has done for Antonio Brown.
He's just stupid.
Yes, but the use of social media has really screwed him.
He's just an idiot. I think he's dumb.
He is.
I think he legally something's wrong.
I have no comment. I'm not going to be mean.
Well, I'm not. I think something's really wrong with him. I think something is mentally wrong with him now.
And it all started after the Vontaze perfect hit.
Yeah, I think something wrong with him, man. He got mad at the GM for finding him because he missed practice. What? You miss work and you're getting fined for it, and you get mad about it to where you want to throw hands? Something wrong with him, man. He needs some help. I can't believe Dominic Wood Anderson did that. Thanks a lot, Nathaniel, for bringing that to my attention.
Oh, it would have been at least. Well, I guess we'll still have to address it in the morning when everybody is listening.
Golly, man, I just can't.
See, why can't we just talk about a football game from an X's and O's standpoint? Tennessee's playing a pretty cool non-conference game this weekend, and here we are talking about players tweeting on social media.
Anyways, so BYU got a bunch of slow dudes on the outside, and they do. I'm not afraid of the wide receivers, but who I am afraid of is their tight end. He may get about 25, 30 targets on Saturday, and if Jeremy Banks does not get in his playbook, he might be in trouble because he had a bust in one of the plays against Georgia State where their tight end scored a touchdown, and so Jeremy Banks needs to play well versus that tight end. What happens when we go nickel? What happens when we decide to put in a smaller person against that tight end? Are we going to be able to hold up our own? Schamberger is playing star position. He may be matched up on the tight end. Najee Warrior may be matched up on him. Trayvon Flowers may be matched up on him. But I think he's the key. I think he's the key to their offense and keeping Wilson inside the pocket. Because if he gets outside of the pocket and breaks containment Saturday night, then Tennessee's going to be in trouble. Got to contain him, keep him in the pocket, stop the run as best as you can, but really, really contain that tight end. And I think Tennessee can have a chance on defense. What I saw defensively from BYU is I want to see our guys in space. I like the empty formation with regular personnel, tight end, running back, and I want to see Eric Gray and those guys on the perimeter catch passes and make BYU players in space. I don't think BYU is all that athletic on the perimeter, but I think in the trenches they'll blow to your nose if you ain't ready for a battle.
I think from a Tennessee perspective, the game will either be won because Tennessee was able to take advantage of the skill players on the perimeter like you just went through, or it's going to simply be lost in the trenches, one or the other. I mean, BYU is going to punch Tennessee in the mouth.
They're going to try. They're going to try. They're going to try.
Based off last week, I imagine they will, and it's going to be about how Tennessee responds. Does Tennessee cave and not get off the mat, or did they learn something from last week and they punch back?
Yeah, they certainly feel like that's what they have the advantage, so they definitely will try.
I think Callaway has the potential to have a really big game, like a career type game this weekend. Who would you put on Bushman? 6'5", 245 pounds. Their tight end that you talked about, 25 to 30 targets. There's not really anybody I trust to put on him, unfortunately. Honestly, it's sad, but Henry To'oTo'o might be the one I trust the most, and I don't even know if he'd do a good job just because we haven't seen a lot from him.
I know he'll be scrappy as hell, and but just measurables, just all right. Who's the best matchup on our defense to go up against Bushman?
I think Nigel might be the close from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, but
I don't trust Nigel in coverage, quite frankly.
Yeah, but again, it's a tight end. It's not a receiver, so I feel a little bit better about Nigel going up against him. But he is the number one threat towards Tennessee's defense, and Tennessee got to win in special teams. And when you play a game like this against a team like BYU, where they may not have as many athletes on the perimeter, you got to win in special teams. Callaway broke a long one last week, and he fumbled because he lost his balance and lost the ball. Callaway has to be really, really good in the punt game. Our punt return team, I think, can be the key in Tennessee winning this football game or being in the football game. we got to win special teams. Like, we cannot lose that area at all. I think we have an advantage there. Usually the team that has the best athletes.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Has the
edge on
advantage.
special teams.
Yep. So I think
that's why
that'll win
Alabama's so good in special teams. Clemson's so good in special teams. I mean, you think about every big-time Alabama football game, it seems like they always make a big play on special teams. The one that stands out to me the most is Kenyon Drake. The first time Alabama and Clemson played, he had the kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, he was gone to the house just like that in the snap of a finger. So
gotta win.
I just hope we're not being naive.
About what?
Just assuming that Tennessee has better athletes than BYU. I think we do.
Shit, I watched the tape.
What are you gonna say?
What? I said shit. I watched the tape.
I thought I almost heard an F word about slipping there.
Dominic Wood Anderson's tweets got me feeling a certain type of way, man.
I can tell.
I don't understand why we're so stupid about still tweeting right now. I just don't get it. And you know what? His tweet ain't wrong. Like, he ain't wrong.
You just can't tweet it. You're not gonna win that fight.
He's not wrong about what he's saying, but it ain't about being wrong or right. It's about where's your focus. All right, let me stop. But watching BYU, you can just tell that Tennessee has more athletes than BYU. So, no, that's not being naive. That's just trusting what your eyes are telling you.
Yeah. I just think sometimes we do make a bad habit out of looking at the logo on the side of the helmet.
We? Who is we?
Tennessee fans in general.
Oh, well. I mean, I'm looking at the film,
and because Tennessee
I see us having more athletes.
Yeah, just because Tennessee has more tradition, as Titans Bill would say. They just kind of like last week. You assume you roll your helmet out there and you're gonna win.
I ain't seen much of that this week.
Not this week, but there was preseason and all summer long.
Yeah,
Saturday may have been a wake up call.
Maybe, but Tennessee winning that game against Georgia State or losing that game against Georgia State, I saw the same thing against Utah live than watching them on film, and that is they don't have a lot of dudes on the perimeter, but they do have a dude at tight end, and they do have a guy at quarterback that can make things hard for Tennessee if he's having a good day.
And Tennessee's not disciplined and lining up correctly.
He'll turn the ball over. He's like a streaky shooter. Like, he's a guy that he'll shoot you in a game, but he also shoot you out of a game. He's good enough to beat Tennessee if you let him feel good about himself. You're not hitting him. He's comfortable in the pocket. He makes a few plays early, and he's getting confidence. You might have a problem on your hands.
Yep.
But if you get to him, you hit him up, you rough him, get turnover. He showed in the Utah game that he'll give it to you. Like, he'll give it to you. So he reminds me a little bit of a streaky shooter. We just got to make sure that we force the bad side of him. But he is a mobile quarterback. He can throw it, and he'll throw it up for Bushman. He will throw it up for him and let him go get it. And our safety's got to do a really good job of tracking the football and catching the ball. Catch the ball. Got to do that. All right, let me see what questions we got on here or comments. Does BYU running option stuff? I didn't see BYU run things similar to Georgia State, but guess what you're going to see?
Oh.
You're going to see some things that Georgia State did. You're going to see some things. You're going to see BYU try to do some of those same things. That's what you do.
Yeah, they don't run the classic triple option like Georgia State was running on Saturday, but they do the read option, what Tennessee liked to run with Josh Dobbs when Dobbs was here. And I heard Kalani Sitake talking this week that he doesn't want to see Zach Wilson, BYU's quarterback, slide as much as he has been on designed quarterback run. So I believe he was the leading rusher. No, he wasn't the leading rusher, but he only had one fewer carry than BYU's leading running back last week, I believe it was. So I imagine he'll have 10 to 12, maybe even 15 carries this game.
Yeah, whenever a team struggles, like whenever your opponent struggles to defend something that another team exposed them on, you're going to do the same thing.
100%. Until
they show that they can stop it. So you're going to see maybe some of the same formation, same looks that Georgia State gave us. BYU is going to see if Tennessee's made those adjustments in practice and fixed those issues. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works.
I bet Dan Mullen is already drawing up option plays with Kadarius Toney involved.
Maybe. No, maybe.
Something similar.
I mean, whatever Tennessee struggles at, you can bet your butt that Tennessee's opponents will do the same thing until Tennessee proves that they can stop it. So don't be surprised if you see some of those things on Saturday. The first 5 minutes of the football game is going to be very important. And it's something we'll talk about tomorrow, but my good friend Billy Ratliff, I love him to death, but his tweet a couple days ago was a little off, and the timing of it, the decision to push sin was a little off, citing that Georgia State's crowd was louder than ours. Well, yeah, they're going to be louder than ours. Dude, what we got to cheer about when Georgia State is outplaying us? So the first 5 minutes is important because there's a lot of people in wait-and-see mode. Wait-and-see mode to see, okay, what are the players going to give us? Are they going to give us anything to cheer about? The first 5 minutes is very, very important. I keep forgetting that they checker and kneeling.
They are?
Yeah.
It's not going to be checker kneeling.
I saw some things out there that says checker kneeling.
I have not seen a single thing on my timeline about checker kneeling.
That's because you got everybody muted. That's why you got everybody muted. You don't know what's going on.
It's just Volstorm.
Yeah, man. I think they're checking kneeling, man. I saw some.
Audrey says they are trying to.
Hey.
I don't think it'll pan out the way it has over the last couple of years, which is unfortunate.
Not a good week for that at all.
Well, I say it's unfortunate because the football team has ruined it. Do you want me to take this phone call?
Sure. Yeah, this is not a good week to check or kneeling. But first 5 minutes are going to be very important. First 5 minutes very important because it's Tennessee's job. It's this team's job to make sure that they get the fans in the game and keep them in the game by their effort, by their passion. We don't have to be winning. It could be a tie game. We could be down 3 points or down a touchdown. But our effort, our passion, you got to keep these fans in the game. If you come out there and you play like slop and the fans are sitting on their hands, don't get mad at them because I would do the same thing.
Oh, I can already tell you, if the first half,
I get up and leave.
That's my point. If the first half is anything like last week's game, if there are signs in the first half of last week's game, the crowd in the second half will be nothing but blue.
It is Tennessee's responsibility, Tennessee's football program, their team, to make sure that the fans are in the game, and that can be with play calling, that can be with, I just mentioned, effort and energy. But you got to make sure this football, these fans are in this football game in the first 5 minutes. Who's that on the line?
It is Chris and JC.
Hey, Chris. What's up, man?
Hey, guys. Hope you guys are doing well tonight.
Hey, Chris.
I've thought about calling in all week to the regular show in the morning, but to be honest with you, I've just been too pissed off.
I understand.
And I think the only word that I have is apathy. From what we saw on Saturday, I was sitting here with my wife, my 1-year-old, and watching a team that I love, a team that I've watched since I was 2-3 years old, back in the early 90s, go out and do what they did. And the only thing I'll say is this. I heard a caller yesterday on your show who said they would rather see freshmen and sophomores out there play the entire year and go 3-9 or 2-10, but at least we know we've got players out there who are giving everything that they have. I completely agree. I 100% support a decision as long as there's players out there who want to play. And it's so sad that we have seniors, a fifth-year senior, a defensive end, who's not even out there trying to line up players on defensive line who's been in the program for 5 years. It's sad, and it hurts because some people don't know. Some people don't realize the escape Tennessee football is for a lot of us. When I was a kid, growing up poor, growing up, not coming from much, the one thing you always look forward to was the fall. Because you had Tennessee coming out there, running through the tee, you get so excited. I remember one time, I think I was 4 or 5 years old, at the bowl game, watching it on TV, seeing Philip Fulmer doused with the Gatorade at the end of the game. And I looked over and I asked my aunt and uncle who raised me, and I said, is this the last time we get to watch them for a long time? And they said yes. And I was sad. And I don't know if the players realize that now.
Yeah, I don't know what they realize. I have no clue. I have no clue.
I don't know if they need more fans to, and I'm not saying fans need to get on Twitter or Facebook or, start cussing out the players and stuff like that. But I agree with the caller the other day that said that maybe these players need to spend some more time at a hospital or out in the community and see these fans and see exactly what they sacrifice. I mean, there's fans out there, several that call into your show that have season tickets that, that's 4 or 5% of their income every year that they pay to get season tickets. That sacrifice a ton just to see this team play every year, that give legitimately all that they can give, that are paying those scholarships. And I'm not saying that Tennessee, doesn't have the money, but we're getting to a really dangerous spot to where a lot of the fan base is going to start having some apathy, in a really dangerous spot to where it's going to be several years before you get a big chunk of them back. And I'm not saying I'm at that point yet, but I'm saying there's a lot of fans, and it's a generational effect, that they're going to start looking at other teams simply because it's right now it's really hard to be a Tennessee fan. And the loyalty for fans that have been fans for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it's there. But you've got fans who are 18, 19, 20 years old. You've got 16-year-old students in high school. I mean, they're going to think twice about where they're going to apply to college.
No, I don't think you're wrong in anything you said there, Chris. The one thing I will add is, when I watched the game film of the Georgia State game, offensively, I didn't see a lot of guys give poor effort. The poor effort looked like it was on defense with some of those juniors, to be honest. And I don't want guys who play hard to get lumped in with guys who are not giving all that they have. But when you have half of the defense jog to the ball carrier, it's really easy to question everybody. I understand that. So I just want to be really careful about blaming someone on offense that was playing hard, that they, blaming them for not having effort. But that should never be an issue at Tennessee. We should never have half of a unit jogging or failing to give all that they have, because you slap that sign every single time you go out there in the football field. That is, I will give my all for Tennessee. I mean, you're making a promise to yourself, to your teammates, to the state, to the nation of Vol fans, and I don't know what to tell you, Chris. I don't. I've never seen this before. Like, I've never seen guys in the first game of the season do what they did.
Do you think it's a product of the old recruits with the old regime?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's a product of? I mean,
yeah,
legitimately, and I know Ben talked about it earlier in the week. Seeing players walk out, some of them still smiling. Are you concerned, Swain, with the players that Pruitt has brought in the last couple of years? Are you concerned that effort's going to stay? Because that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm not calling for a coaching search or anything like that, but I just want to make sure that the players have the mentality that they're still playing for their coach. And that's what I'm really worried about, is I don't want Pruitt to lose the guys. are you concerned about the players that Pruitt's recruited and is still going to bring in, about them giving the effort?
No, I'm not right now, Chris. I mean, 62 guys who are freshman, sophomore. And I asked someone, I was like, man, do they like Pruitt? I mean, are we to the point we were with Butch Jones where guys just didn't like him? He was like, no, that's not it. Those guys love Pruitt. They love playing for him. It's a small group of upperclassmen that don't get it. And I guess the decision that maybe at some point you might have to make is, do you go with young guys who are going to give you all they have and buy in 100%, or are you going to go with some of the older guys who may know where they're going and know what they're doing, but they may be a cancer in how they prepare and how they go about their business, and you don't want those guys rubbing on young guys. Now, I give you and Chris, thanks for the phone call, man. I appreciate you. I remember my senior year, the year I was a captain, and there was a gentleman on our football team that his attitude had changed to the point where coaches just really stopped talking to him like that because his attitude wasn't where it needed to be. And me being a captain, I'm gonna go around and say hey to everybody. And so we were at practice one day, and I had just ran my route, and ran my route or blocked or whatever, and it was time for the second team to go. So I come back to the back of the huddle, and here's this player. And so I just talked to him like, hey, man, how you doing? Everything all right? Just casual conversation, nothing too serious. But my position coach at the time was Trooper Taylor. He saw me, and a little bit later on in the practice, he was like, hey, man, don't be talking to him. You don't want to show Coach Cut and show your teammates that you're associating with him because he ain't bought in. He hasn't completely sold himself out for the team. He's thinking about himself. But I was like, hey, man, I'm just being nice to everybody. Like, you want to get the cancer away as much as you can, away from, your younger players, because you don't want them to learn bad habits. You don't want them to go, oh, well, if you ball out on the football field, you can fail a drug test, or you can not show up to class, or you don't have to go to meetings, or you can break curfew. I mean, you don't want that message to be shared inside your locker room. That's toxic. And so we gotta be really delicate in kind of how we operate with our players. And that's why Pruitt gets paid the big bucks. I don't know what he should do, but I do know that's kind of what he's dealing with.
Well, then how do you play the younger guys that deserve to play from from an emotional standpoint, from an effort standpoint, but also not play them too soon to where it damages the rest of their career? Like, I think that the reason JG is gun shy at times and, has not necessarily lived up to his full potential, I 100% believe it's because 4 coordinators in 4 years, Butch Jones as his head coach, Jeremy Pruitt rebuilding, not Jeremy Pruitt's fault, but Jeremy Pruitt rebuilding, and on top of that, he's been beat to death behind that offensive line. So how do you manage not letting another JG happen?
Well, effort doesn't guarantee you anything.
Yeah. But I'm talking about everybody's calling for the youth movement if the upperclassmen aren't playing hard.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Like, effort doesn't, guarantee you anything in life. You can go to your boss and go, hey, I'm trying hard. What? What now?
Right.
Well, what have you done? Did you produce? Do you know what you're doing? Mm-hmm. That's how you get opportunities on the practice field. If you don't know what you're doing, if you ain't making plays, you can be trying hard as you want to. You ain't playing Saturday. If you don't know where you're going and you can't make a play, the coach ain't gonna put you out there. I would rather put a dude out there that knows where he's going that's gonna make a play than a guy who's not.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rudy is just a movie. It ain't real life. Rudy tried hard, but in real life, Rudy ain't playing.
Right.
So that's kind of the issue that Pruitt and his coach staff is dealing with is how can I get young dudes like ready to play? Earlier on the chat, there was a question about Kavaris Crouch rushing the passer, just in a pass rushing drill. Oh, Crouch can get to the quarterback. He's athletic. He's big. He's strong. We didn't see him much out there on Saturday. So what could it be? Well, maybe he don't know his stuff.
Pruitt said that he's just not ready yet. He's getting close. He's making plays during practice, but he and Roman Harrison just aren't there yet. They're inching closer day by day. They're close, but they're just not there yet.
So it's probably not physical because look at them. So it's probably mental, which is pretty normal for
A freshman.
a true freshman. Not all of the freshmen will be like Henry To'oTo'o or Eric Gray. Everyone comes along their own pace, their own way. So it's the first game of the season. We talked about Eric, Darnell Wright and Wanya Morris, possibly being starters day one. I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about starters day one. They'll play and then maybe work themselves into that start position mid-season, but it's hard to be a day one starter as a true freshman because there's so much you got to get used to doing and being able to compete and take care of your body. There's so much information thrown at you. You got to process it. You got to go into meetings at 2:30, see a play on the board. It's a new play, and then be able to go out there in an hour and run at full speed versus someone else and win that rep. So it's different than high school where like you have these walkthroughs on new plays on the football field, and they take 10, 20 minutes of practice. Now, college is not like that. We got an hour and a half. Here's 10 new plays. All right, everybody got what they're doing? All right. On the field, let's do it full speed. Boom, got to go. If you mess up, next. That's kind of how it works. Now, if you CP, we'll slow it down for you, CP. We'll hold your hand.
We'll just tell you to go deep.
We'll draw it out for you. You special. We'll do some things to help you understand it. But CP's only come through once a decade, something like that.
Yeah.
So some of these freshmen who didn't play in the first game, they're going to play later on in the season once they get their head wrapped around the offense or the defense. And now I think that's why Pruitt said that Roman Harrison and Crouch wasn't ready just yet. Because physically, I've seen them make plays in fall camp. Like, I've seen number 30 in the backfield. I've seen number 27 get to the quarterback. I've seen it. But when you up and down and inconsistent, I can't trust you if you're inconsistent. It's like dealing with someone who is like maybe dealing with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna trust them around $100 sitting on the table?
No,
you're not gonna trust them until they earn your trust. And so, like, as a coach, you're not gonna put somebody out there that may not know where they're going. You have to earn that trust, and that's a big reason why I didn't play my first game until the fourth quarter. And I knew all my stuff, but my coaches didn't trust me because I had spent about a week out with a groin injury. Because they didn't see me in practice getting those reps, they didn't know if I was 100% ready from a mental standpoint to play.
and you're a freshman. Senior Jason Swain plays regardless of missing that week.
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't comfortable with they didn't know if I knew my stuff or not.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know if I was going to be able to line up properly. And so when we got up by a lot of points, and I was on the sideline pouting, thinking about how I'm going to get to Michigan, or how I'm going to get to Georgia, or how I'm going to get somewhere else, it was time for me to go in. I went in and did my thing, but I wasn't happy But I understood after the fact, okay, the coaches didn't trust me because I wasn't practicing enough to show them that I was going to miss a line. And I didn't. I never missed a line as a freshman. I knew my stuff. They put me in one position. The offense was easy. I knew the offense. I actually knew it during the spring before I even got to Tennessee because I got the playbook, and Pat Washington drove to Huntsville, spent a whole Saturday with me walking through the playbook with me during the spring before I even got to school in July, excuse me. So
I tell you what.
What?
That 2017 recruiting class might go down as the worst Tennessee recruiting class of all time.
Is that the juniors?
Yeah. And unfortunately, Trey Smith and Ty Chandler are associated. Malik Gray, Eric Crosby, Jordan Murphy, Cheyenne LaBruza, Latrell Bumphus, Matthew Butler, Kevon Bennett, Terrell Bailey, Theo Jackson, Solon Page, Shannon Reed, Riley Locklear, K'Ron Calvert, Trey Coleman, DeAndre Johnson, Palmer, Ryan Thaxton, Princeton Fant, Jacquez Jones, Schamberger, James Brown, Samaglia, Will McBride, and Tim Jordan.
I think that's a good time to take it on in for the night.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Might be good to take it on in for the night on that one, man. Audrey, right quick, says, is the noise in Neyland Stadium a problem for some of the players, do you think? Absolutely not.
It wasn't loud on Saturday.
It should not be a problem. Should not be a problem. Man said, wake up, Ben.
I was awake. I was just listening.
Oh, man. So we'll be back 7 a.m. in the morning, and we'll be on remote. So we'll see how it works out, man.
In 9 hours.
It's our first remote since signing day, since February. So
are you nervous?
No. I tested everything. Everything's good to go. But you just never know sometimes, man. We're going to be a little bit outside of our element doing a remote. So we'll be live at Alumni Hall. Doors are open at 7 a.m. So if you want to come by and say, hey, we really appreciate it. They're open, and you can get your shop on, get you some orange and white. I know I'll be doing that in my 3 hours there at Alumni Hall. So for Ben, McKee, I'm Jason Swain, and thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate everybody. And we'll be back in a few hours at Alumni Hall in Turkey Creek. Have a great night.